Welcome to the Marley Bird YouTube channel. I'm Marley Bird, proud spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns, and I'm joined today by one of my best friends, Berk, who is the author of Annetarsia. She is everything Intarsia that I wish I could be, so I'm bringing her here today to help me introduce some different skills to you guys. We have already done a really great learn how to do Intarsia video, which you can check out in that little link right there, that I button, you can find that. And I'm gonna let Anne take it away from here.
Well, the biggest complaint I hear from people about Intarsia, and you know, sometimes knitting in general,
yes, always,
is weaving in ends.
Yes.
We don't like it.
Yes.
And it's, you know, we're not sewers, right? We're knitters.
No.
So we don't like to do it. But when we do it, we want it to be invisible and we want it to stay put.
Yes,
right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we want it to be fast.
And we want it to be fast.
Oh.
And we want it to be easy. Not that we are picky or anything, but that's what we want. And you know what? We're going to get it.
All
okay,
right.
so what gave me the idea is the thing that everybody hates about Intarsia is our secret weapon for getting rid of the ends. So if you'll remember, this is the bag I showed in another lesson made out of Red Heart's fabulous new yarn, Chic Sheep, which
by Marley
is
Bird.
unbelievable to work with. I cannot recommend it enough. So this is what it looks like on the right side. That's good, but this is what it looks like on the wrong side.
I am so impressed that the inside of your work is just as beautiful as the outside.
Yeah.
And I just got to say that.
And that's what we all want, isn't it? So if you can zoom in and sort of look, this is where the end is. The end is buried in there. And there's a lot of ends here. I've got two main color ends and the diamond color, the red color, and they're all in there. And you know, you might be able to tell, but not really. And that's because I have buried them inside the links. Now, what gave me the idea for this is having those links, because yarn is full of air. Mm-hmm. And that's why when we, you know, are on a trip to visit our best friend and we buy too much yarn, if we sit on our suitcase, we can make it close.
And it helps if your friend's a big girl too.
Yeah, well, yeah. Aww.
Just saying.
Oh, brother. So, you know, I thought, you know, if I could get a piece of yarn inside of another piece of yarn and hide it, how great would that be, right? So in order to do that, we need a special tool, and I'm going to tell you about that. So you all know about our yarn needles, and we love our yarn needles. They're so handy. They've got great big eyes so we can get our yarn in them, and our blunt tips so that we don't damage any yarn. But of course, with my technique, we're so going to damage the yarn. You're going to go right inside it, so we need a different tool. So what we're going to use is called a chenille needle. Now, sometimes tapestry needles will work, and a lot of people want to use those, but with tapestry needles, they have large eyes, but sometimes they have blunt tips and sometimes they have sharp tips, so you have to check. This is called a chenille needle, and it's just like the fabric, C-H-E-N-I-L-L-E, yeah. And it has a really, really sharp tip. You could get a splinter out with that sucker. And it also has a pretty large eye. They are found in all of your stores that have embroidery supplies. Joann's has them. In fact, I think that might be where I bought these. If you get to a Joann's and they don't have any chenille needles, I probably got there first. Yeah.
Yes.
Because I buy them to give out at my classes. They come in various sizes. They come in 18, 20, and 22. The smaller the number, the larger the eye. So these are a size 18. With an 18, I can get anything from a bulky down to a fingering weight. 22 is good for lace weight, 20, anything below sport weight. But the size 18, you can really mash a lot of yarn in there, again, because you're getting rid of the air, right?
Okay.
Okay? So now what we're going to do with that sharp tip is we're going to get inside the yarn.
Okay.
So I'm going to show you how we're going to do that.
And this works with all types of yarn. I just want to mention
Yes.
It's not just good with Chic Sheep by Marley Bird. You can use it with any yarn, wool, acrylic, cotton, anything.
Yeah.
We just happen to be showing it on this fabulous new yarn.
Yes. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do when I'm looking at this is I want to make sure that the stitches are pretty on the other side. Okay, on the right side. Because before we bury the end, we're going to fix anything we don't like. So here, this stitch looks a little large to me, and that's because that's the end. So if I just tug that slightly, that's just going to fix it just fine.
Okay.
Now if this one looks a little small, which it does, I can manipulate it because this is still a loose piece of yarn. So I can make this bigger.
So right now
and
you're
move
just
the
using
yarn over.
the needle,
Yep,
the
I'm just-
eye of the needle,
The eye of the needle.
just to manipulate the legs of those stitches.
That's right.
Okay.
So I can sort of loosen this up and even them out.
All right.
Okay?
Perfect.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now, let's say that you got off the chart somehow.
Okay.
And you forgot to turn this one mint. And so this one, or you wanted it to be a different color. So we can actually use that end to cover that with duplicate stitch.
Oh, I love me some duplicate stitch.
Yeah. So what I recommend when people are knitting this, if you get off the chart and you make a mistake, the first thing I would do is mark it.
Okay.
Put a locking marker in that spot.
Perfect.
Because it's amazing how many times you will go back and it'll look fine.
Okay.
You know, maybe you thought that stitch was too tight or too loose, but you go back and it's all fixed itself. Or it's whatever mistake you make was so minor that you can't see it from across the room and you really don't care.
Perfect.
So you might just decide to just take the locking mark out and forget it.
I'm all about stitch markers. So
Yeah, I
that's
am
cool.
too.
I love stitch markers.
But and also the mistake might be important. Maybe you forgot to link. Maybe you
Okay.
forgot to put your old over your new one time.
Okay.
So you've got a little tiny hole there. You're not going to be able to see it unless you mark it.
Okay.
Yeah, it will disappear, and you'll be sitting there going, "Where is that? I know I did that." So put the locking marker wherever you think you might have screwed
Got
up.
it. Got it.
Okay, so you make that look good, and now I'm going to thread my needle. So with threading my needle, I like to pinch really hard over the yarn over the needle, and then I force that needle through the thumb and the forefinger. Okay, like that. Now, if you are having trouble with that, this is a worsted weight yarn. So this is pretty thick, right? So maybe you're having trouble. Take it over the pointy end, which is even tinier. And that will give you maybe even a little tinier edge. If you have a bulky yarn, what you could do is spread it out and then put it over your needle. And now it's super, super thin and will go through your eye. Okay?
Fantastic.
Yeah, these are really great. All right, so now what I'm going to do before I bury it, I'm going to put this yarn where it should have gone, because I don't know if you could see this, but see how this stitch is sort of tilted to the side?
Yes.
And that's because it was supposed to go over here, and it
Oh.
isn't. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I have enough yarn there, and then I'm going to put this where it should have gone.
And when you say it should have gone, you're meaning where it wants to go?
No, well, if this had been a stitch, see where,
Oh, I see what you mean now.
see?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you were to recreate that stitch, that's just like that would be the
Yes.
leg of a stitch that's not there.
Exactly.
Okay, okay.
So it would have gone into here.
Okay, I see that.
Okay.
All right.
So see how it
Yes.
just makes it really pretty.
Yes.
And now on the other side, that stitch is nice and happy again.
Oh yeah, it's perfect. Okay.
Now it's a little loose here. We got a hole. That's because of this end.
Yeah.
Okay. Don't worry about the holes. It's often very distracting when you're in your first rows. It's like everything's so loosey goosey. That's all right. That's because it's not finalized yet. Just try to ignore it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bury this end, and I'm going to bury it into the yarn. So I am going through the plies. My finger is underneath to make sure that I don't go to the right side, but you can hardly see my needle there. So when I pull it through, it hardly even disrupts the stitches, but it's inside the yarn.
And it's through the links, not the actual stitches.
Through the links.
Okay.
It is not through the fabric, it's through the links. They're extra. And now, because this is machine washable, it is not going to full, it's not going to felt, nothing's going to glue it. So it probably won't come out because it's inside the yarn, but it might. So I'm always a little cautious. So I like to go in very close to where I came out and just double back a little bit. About 1/4 inch is all you got to do. And then I cut it off immediately, because if I don't, I won't be able to tell I buried it, and I might bury it again, and then it starts getting bulky.
So just that little bit right there, that's it.
That's all it is.
And it's just going to stay.
Yes.
Even after washing it, like 100 times, it's going to be all right.
Yeah, there's a couple rules about burying ends. You have to have some material to bury it into, and you better make sure you don't want to take it out because this is a permanent move. You will. It's now inside the yarn, especially if you do this.
Yeah.
Now because I cut it off at the base, it's inside. You can't get it out.
Oh my gosh.
It's gone.
So this is completely different from weaving in your ends. When you weave in your ends, it's a completely different technique. This is burying your ends in the links here, but you can also use this if you were burying your ends on seams of a sweater, right?
Yes. Okay, so that's the next question everybody has. Oh my gosh, that's fantastic. Can I always do it? Okay, so what you can do it on anything with texture. You have to have something to bury it into, right? So it works great with Intarsia links, but it also works, I could do it here. I could do it on the side. If you're seaming, sometimes I'll just bury my ends anyway because it makes it really sharp and clear, and then I don't have to bury them into the seam, but you certainly could bury it in the seam. But look what happens, thank you, darling. So look what happens here when I bury it into the side. See, I'm just going inside there. And it's gone.
Yeah.
Absolutely gone. Boy, I should have pinned this scarf up.
I'm going to help you.
Yeah. Okay. So, but look how good it looks, right?
It's gorgeous.
Yeah, yeah. So, so I'm just, it's gone. That's it. It's a 1-2 punch.
Seconds.
Oh
like
yeah.
Seconds.
It's seconds.
So I'm sitting here and I'm like, okay.
Do not obsess about this.
How
it's
great
boom, boom. Yeah, you should be able to tell them how fast I cleaned up your
mitered
blanket.
squares. I had a mitered square blanket, you guys, ends everywhere. I was showing it in a class and Anne said to me, no, you can't bring that to class with all those ends hanging out. I said, Anne, I don't have time to weave in all these ends. She said, give that to me. She sat down on the bed, 30, 45 minutes tops. She had all of the ends woven in on this blanket, and I defy you to find where any of those ends are if you flip it around. It is amazing how wonderful it is. And I mean, I'm looking at this, I'm like, this is fantastic for Intarsia. This is fantastic for mitered squares. You could absolutely do this with granny squares for crochet or any sort of crochet items, because especially because crochet is very thick. You know, you have whole stitches to go through. I tend to do that anyways. That's exactly how I weave in my ends for crochet.
The only thing I wouldn't do is I wouldn't do it on stockinette. There just isn't enough here. You know, I mean, you could snake along here, but it might distort your fabric.
Well, here's a question for you. What if you were to take the end and take the plies apart and take 2 of the plies and go up the stockinette one side and 2 of the plies, so like you make the yarn thinner to be able to work it up? Would that work?
Yes, and that's the way a lot of people do, like with weaving in, where they'll. For me, that's just too fussy.
Yeah, it's a lot of work.
That's a lot of work and a lot of time. I'm not willing to do that. I'm not willing to do that. So, you know, if I'm working with something that is machine washable, is not going to. I can't spit splice, which is my favorite form of joining. But if I can't do that, I'm probably going to, frankly, do it in pieces and seam it.
Gosh, I love it. I think it's so amazing. Every time she shows this in class, people are just in awe of it. I know that it was fascinating for me to sit there on the other bed and watching you just weave in these ends. She was like, snip, 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 snip. And I was like, oh, I hope this doesn't come undone. And it's perfect.
Well, so let me tell you what I do, because everybody also says, when do you do it? Do you wait till you're done? Do you do it in process? So I do it whenever I feel like it. If I'm doing a project, like maybe I'm tired of knitting, or sometimes I'm just really in the zone. I just finish it and then I look at the back and I go, oh my goodness, that's a lot of spaghetti back there. So a couple of tips. When you're doing Intarsia, when you stop using a color, cut it off with your 5-inch end so you don't have unnecessary yarn butterflies in your back. And also, when you're going to bury your ends, make it a project. I sit down with my knitting and my chenille needle and my scissors and, you know, good light and a TV show that's interesting or a book. And but it's got to be an audio book because I'm actually watching. When I knit, I don't watch it, but when I'm burying my ends, I do. So just something to entertain me. And I just sit and, you know, like it looks terrible. 20 minutes later, it's all clean, and I've got this nice little pile of ends. It's so satisfying.
That is so awesome.
It's like, wow, yay! And you're done.
I love this. I think it's absolutely fitting that you're able to show people how they can bury their ends so perfectly, so quickly, because you're the queen of Intarsia, which Intarsia is all about color, explosions of color, which your scarf shows, which shows in the projects you've done for me, and it's pretty darn great. So I can't wait for all of you to run out and get some chenille needles and try this technique, burying your ends. If you do, please share with us on Facebook.
Can I say the smash
Yes, I am facebook.com/MarleyBird. You are facebook.com/Antarsia. The links will be provided in the video description box below. And while you're down there,
smash the like button.
We appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, Anne Berk, for joining me today. I'm Marley Bird, proud spokesperson for Red Heart Yarns, and you can learn more about Intarsia, Annetarsia, and the brand new Chic Sheep by Marley Bird yarn, again, in the description box below. See you guys next time. Bye. Now that you can do Intarsia, you can make the Chic Sheep Dream Blanket. Say that 3 times fast. Or if you want to learn more about Intarsia, get Anne's book, Annetarsia Knits. Everything you need to know about knitting or crochet can be found right here on the Marley Bird YouTube channel. Learn with Marley Bird. Visit youtube.com/Marley Bird.